Hello, my name is Lilja. Today I'm going to be making a 1900s farmer woman's outfit for the Coastal Communities Museum in North Berwick. I'm basing this costume on the local area and what a woman from the 1900s would have worn. The costume is inspired by two paintings by W. Brown, Hoeing in the Fields and Whaling Potatoes. It's also inspired by a village history book description, a woman worker of East Lothian wearing a distinctive and practical dress of a striped drugget skirt with blue and white striped bodice, Hessian apron, a small grey shawl over the shoulder, black home knitted stockings, and strong lacing boots. And an ugly, which is the name for the funky hat. So the drugget skirt is going to be a gored skirt, which was very popular at the time. It means that it's quite fitted in the front but gathered in the back. So it consists of several pieces rather than just two flat pieces gathered together, which was really popular earlier. I am as well going to make a fitted blouse. I'll not be making the ugly, they already have an ugly at the museum. Originally the drugget fabric is a linen and woolen mix, where like the linen is the warp and the wool is the weft. However, it's really difficult to come by nowadays, and if you do find it, it's really expensive for what it is. But I did manage to find this beautiful Welsh wool. It has the striped look of a drugget skirt without the linen in it. So I think that will be very suitable to kind of emulate that look. I've dyed it a nice soft indigo colour. This is the colour it was beforehand. Indigo was very popular in Scotland during that era. A lot of drugget skirts have blue indigo in them. And I've got some lovely green cotton from Scotland. It has a lovely little check pattern that I think goes quite well with the striped skirt. We are dyeing. That sounded a bit depressing. We're dyeing fabric. For this recipe, you will need indigo, calcium hydroxide, fructose. Yeah, okay, you're getting the bit. So I bought this natural dye kit from Wonky Beaver, and I'm just gonna follow the recipe. And I am a good boy. I've got big gloves so that I don't get blue hands. The fructose. And then this thing. Is turning blue. Fabric, fabric, fabric. Oh, you're not supposed to wet the fabric beforehand. God, this is nerve-wracking. I've just measured out the size of my fabric onto this pattern. So I have 1.5 meters that way and 1 meter this way, and that is the maximum amount of fabric I have. So I'm going to use this pattern as a guide, but make it fit inside this rectangle so I know I have enough fabric. All right, Here comes the scary bit. I am ready to sew together the panels now. Obviously, because I had a certain amount of fabric, I have had to piece the edge of the skirt. However, that is completely period accurate. You use what you have and you don't want to waste anything. And I've even got a little bit left over for hopefully a waistband and a placket. I think I'm gonna French seam the seams that I can, just because I want it to be sturdy. I want it to last a long time, you know. It's not going to be in constant use because it's going to be on display, but you know, it's nice to have to know that it's not going to fall apart. So since I'm French seaming, which means, oh, maybe I should explain what French seam is. First, you sew the fabric with the seam allowance to the outside, and then you trim the seam allowance down, and then you flip it over and press it and sew the seam allowance tucked in, and that way you get all of the raw edges hidden away and you don't have to do like 20,000 hemmings. Yeah, you don't have to hem it, but basically that creates this like neat little seam that looks like that on that side and that on that side. However, I had to do a join on the fabric because the fabric was quite narrow, but that now means that I have two French seams meeting. I basically had to do it, sew the seam to the outside, snip it down real nice, turn it, and now I'm going very carefully over it, hoping that I'm managing to catch all of the seam allowance in the seam so that it doesn't like stick out. Carefully going along here. Moment of truth, how good am I at French seaming? It's a bit lumpy, but that looks fine. Here's what the inside of the seam looks like. All neat and tucked away. And then here's the outside of the seam. So it's a bit bulky, but it's still quite nice. All right, that is most of the skirt sewn together. And then I think I need to pleat it to a waistband and do the placket. I've measured the waist that I need the skirt to be, and I've put on some binding. I'm gonna do like a hidden waistband, so it's gonna be on the inside basically. I've let the waistband go from the split at the side where the placket's going to be. I've laid the waistband around to the other side. This is how much waistband I've got. Might need to jiggery pokery a little bit, but I'm going to try and gather the rest of the back into this so that I get a nice little gathered back. So I'm just doing some running stitches, kind of evenly spaced apart. So I've got 2 rows of gathering thread, and then I'm just gonna pull them along. Washing machine. Here's a question for you Brits. Why the f is the washing machine in the kitchen? And especially when the kitchen is connected to the living room. Riddle me that. I paused the washing machine. So I am now at the waistband. I'm making a little placket just with some binding tape just sewn into the split. And then I'm gonna put hooks and eyes, small ones along here. And then I've got a bigger one for the waist. I'm gonna do Can you see the... I don't know if is that even funny? I'm gonna stitch this side first, and then that side with the hooks kind of slipped in between. Then I'm gonna do the waistband. Yes. Right, so I've moved on to the blouse now. I've got the pattern from the working woman's costume. I've just cut it out as is. Because this is going to be for a mannequin, I don't need to do a fitting. Trying to pattern match as best as I can. This is actually quite a nice fabric to pattern match with. Fun fact, I'm learning how to be a quilt maker. That has actually really helped me with pattern matching because I can identify where the sets and the centers are. And I can kind of make things perfectly centered and also make it match up on the next center. Trying to be extra careful and just making sure it's nice and central. So this one's supposed to be cut on the fold, but because I'm wanting to be extra careful with the pattern matching, I've just drawn it, traced around the pattern and then flipped it, and then I'll trace around the pattern on this side. And then I don't need to worry about a thing. That matches. Okay, and then so obviously when pattern matching, you're going to lose a bit of fabric. It's pretty common in Victorian clothing though. The fabric that you're losing, you might be able to use as piecing for other pieces later on, like the collar or the waistband and such, any facings. So that is completely fine. We don't need to worry too much about losing. So last night I just cut out the lining for this. I had to piece quite a bit and it took me ages, but I had just enough fabric for lining, not enough for the sleeves, so I'm going to line the sleeve in something else. It's just some leftover bits that I had. So I just basted the linings together because I'm flatlining it and it's easier and the fabrics won't move about as much, but also that is how it would have been done at the time. So I'm just wanting to get the kind of shapes right. And I'm just now going to first stitch the shoulder seams and the back seams together. And then I'm going to do a tiny little fitting. Obviously this isn't for an actor, but you know, I want to see what it looks like before I sew up the side seams, and then I can do the darts. Oh my god. I'm awake. And you know, by the 1900s, sewing machines were widely available, which is very historically accurate, adequate. I basted the layers in red thread so that you could see where the sewing line was, because I had to jiggery pokery things a little bit because my pattern matching wasn't amazing. On one side for some reason, whatever. This is fine. Hello. Okay, so I've got two sleeves. These look really long. Do I just have short arms, or? No, that might actually fit me. Maybe I should try to wear this. Anyways, what I would usually do when attaching sleeves is wear the sleeve, because then you know it's the right sleeve. And then, well, that, do that. And then you can take it off and place it. Okay, so let's find the bottom. Yeah, so that seam and the sleeve seam match up. Okay, now I'm guessing I'm going to have to put a pleat or two in here, because I did make the sleeve hole a little bit smaller. You know, whoever complained about a little bit of a poof sleeve. Thank you for watching the video. If you would like to see the costume in person, you can visit the Coastal Communities Museum in North Berwick and have a little look at the exhibition there. If you like the video, you can leave a like and you can subscribe if you want to. Okay, thanks, bye!